Hey, my fellow Cpackers, what a thrill it is to be back again. This is the 25th year that Heritage has been a co-sponsor of Cpac. David Keene, Cleta, everybody at ACU, thank you so much for bringing everybody together. It's a wonderful opportunity to be here, and boy, isn't this exciting this year? Much, much better than last year, I gotta say. Thank you, David. I have a very interesting challenge this afternoon, introducing Congressman Dr. Tom Price. Now, let me tell you, if you're ever in Tom Price's waiting room when he was a medical doctor, I bet you were never an hour and 10 minutes waiting for him. That's about what we are behind right now, so I've cut my introduction very, very short. Before I say just a couple words about Tom, let me make a plug for the Mount Vernon statement that we released on Wednesday. Go to themountVernonstatement.com. We urge you to sign up as a fellow constitutional conservative, somebody who shares those basic beliefs. Let me tell you, one of the first pieces of media that I read on the Mount Vernon statement was a comment from the head of People for the American Way, who said this was just the same tired old ideas we've been hearing from them for so long. Well, I don't think about the U.S. Constitution as being tired old ideas. I think about it as what governs us and what guides us. Dr. Tom Price came to the U.S. Congress in 2004. He represents the 6th Congressional District of Georgia. Most importantly, for all of us at Cpac, he heads the most influential group of conservatives in the U.S. House of Representatives, the Republican Study Committee. He is the chairman of the RSC, has been for the last year and a half. He's kept the RSC as the go-to place for conservatives in the House of Representatives. He's a fearless leader. He's taken on health care rationing as being a particular concern of his, and he's out for real health care reform. And Tom, you are a real leader. We want to welcome you to Cpac 2010.
Thank you. How are we doing out there? Hadn't it been a great 2 days here at Cpac so far? I tell you, what a wonderful, wonderful gathering. I am so glad to be with you today. You've noticed that some of the snow is melting out there. You know, the blizzard last week shut down the federal government for 4 straight days. And we survived. Isn't it amazing? We ought to take a lesson from that, I tell you. Let me thank Ed for his gracious introduction. Ed has been an institution, truly, in and of himself for nearly 40 years, from his work today at the Heritage Foundation. Yeah, give Ed a hand. From his work at the Heritage Foundation to his vision to create the Republican Study Committee. Without Ed's work, the conservative movement would not be what it is today, and so we all owe Ed a great debt of gratitude. As Ed said, my name is Tom Price. I have the honor and privilege of representing the 6th Congressional District of Georgia and also serving as the chairman of the Republican Study Committee, a group that Ed founded in 1973. How many of you have heard of the Republican Study Committee? Good hands out there. I encourage all of you to go online and join our team at the Republican Study Committee. I like to describe the RSC as the good guys and the good gals in Washington, the true conservatives of the House of Representatives, the place where conservative solutions are produced and where battles are waged with the liberal majority in charge right now. And a battle we have had this past year, haven't we? What a year it's been. Being at Cpac this year, can't you feel the energy? The energy and the enthusiasm, it's absolutely incredible and so much different than a year ago. There's a sense that the ground is moving. There's a sense that something historic is truly underway. To me, this has been one of the most important years in modern political history. It began with a new president, a fawning media, and a fawning media, and a fawning media. Liberals were emboldened. You remember what they said? Many happily declared, they said, that conservatism was dead. So over the last year, conservatives in Washington and across this land have joined together to beat back the liberal agenda, fighting every single day, tooth and nail. We've seen the spawning of a new political movement in the Tea Parties that's changed the face of American politics. And we have even elected a Republican to the United States Senate from the state of Massachusetts. I believe that we are on the precipice of an historic political revolution. I stand here today wholly confident that next year we will be here at Cpac celebrating a conservative Republican majority in the House of Representatives and the removal of Nancy Pelosi from power. Now, what we've been reminded of over the last year is that when we apply principle to all of our actions, we will always have the American people on our side. You see, our enduring principles, the eternal fire of conservative ideals, cannot be extinguished. But we got to be honest. Our light had dimmed. The influence of conservative thought had waned, as principle was abandoned, even by some in our very own party. But the fires of the conservative movement are burning brightly once again. Passionate conservatism has raged across this nation. Patriotic Americans have stood up at town halls and at tea parties. They've engaged in both protests and in prayer to say that we must take our country back. Absolutely. We must take our country back from a vile liberal agenda that is threatening everything that we hold dear as Americans. And amazingly, it took an out-of-touch liberal elite in the White House to provide us that spark that allowed us to reignite our spirit. But it was the fuel inside each and every one of you that has allowed it to remain ablaze. And for this, I want to thank you. I thank you for the inspiration that you have given to all of us fighting here in Washington. And we are fighting because our nation has slipped into the hands of a party whose liberal vision is incompatible with the America that most of us know and love. But with your help, we will take our country back. Now, this is going to take a lot of work, right? This is not going to be easy. But the danger of inaction is too great. Too much is at stake. Too great a price will be paid by our children and our grandchildren if we don't seize this moment and change the course of America's history. And I am so confident that a new direction is possible, because I see a political revolution that's already in motion. The engagement and the political activism that took place in 2009 was incredibly heartening. All year long, Americans stood up and they voiced their concerns in a manner that would surely make our founding fathers proud. Democrats, on the other hand, don't even appreciate the fact that Americans are standing up against their agenda. During the August town halls, when Americans united and they said that they reject a government takeover of health care, the White House responded that this anger was, quote, manufactured. And Nancy Pelosi went so far as to write an op-ed that said we were un-American. You remember? Well, I want to say to the Speaker, don't you fly over our country in your luxury jet and lecture us on what it means to be an American. Don't you tell us about America. America is a place where when the government doesn't listen to the people stand up and shout louder, and they take the country back. America is a place founded in protest to oppressive government and on the principle of the consent of the governed. We're a nation rooted in the awesome power and the limitless potential of free people, a place where dreams can be conceived and worked for and then realized, a place where we respect the values of life and family and religion, one that cherishes individual liberty and responsibility, one that embraces charity and equal opportunity but rejects equal outcomes. America is a place of hardworking people all looking to do the right thing for their families and their communities. America is too dynamic, America is too grand, and yes, it is too independent a community to be organized by any one man. especially the one in the White House right now.